Ready to go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful movie podcast with Joe and Brad. Say hello, Brad.
Hello, Brad. Hello, Joe. Oh, that's weird.
Hey,
Like a
how you
parrot.
doing?
Good. How are you doing?
He can hear the echo. Good, good. He can hear the echoes of his big brain. Well, yes, we are back again to discuss another movie, and I just decided to pick one that I had started like a while ago and made myself complete it by giving us a little bit of homework assignment, and that is the 2001 film. I think it's pronounced Kairo in Japanese or Kiro. It's translated as Pulse or Circuit. It is a Japanese horror film, a J horror film, kind of like one of those movies that was kind of in the wave of horror films in the late 90s, early 2000s in Japan that just spawned a bunch of remakes. I think the most famous one, of course, is probably Ring, The Ring, based on Ringo. But this was one that I'll tell you a little bit about it after I give the summary here. Yeah, so basically, Pulse. Okay, it is a movie about ghosts, I guess you could say, who are trying to enter the living realm, and what instead of just entering and doing haunted, spooky stuff, they're trying to actually sort of suck people into the internet.
Mhm.
They're like invading through the internet, and they're sucking, like trapping real living people into the internet, and but they're doing it by kind of trapping them in their own sense of like despair and loneliness and isolation. And there's two converging storylines about people kind of experiencing this in their own ways, and eventually the plot lines do converge. But really, very simply, that's what it is. It's just kind of an early, you know, technologically based fear thing of, oh, the internet is scary, chat rooms are scary, everybody's just kind of, locked in their rooms and just being online, which is kind of prophetic, I guess, in a way. So I think that was pretty cool about it. And so the plot almost doesn't matter as much as I think the themes and the things I do like about the movie. But a little bit of backstory for you, Brad. The reason I decided to pick this one, mostly because it was something that came to mind. I had started it like a while back. I think I mentioned it to you like many months ago, and I'd heard it was just like a really influential Japanese horror movie. It was kind of a little understated or underrated compared to things like The Ring. And I think I shared with you a video of this one channel. I'll have to share it in the description because I forget his name. There's this channel I like that reviews all different types of horror movies, and even like ones that are less conventional, like certain Russian films he's talked about that are really dramatic, but they talk about the aspects of horror just in daily life, even though they're not typical horror movies. So this was a video he talked about where he analyzed a very specific scene, and maybe we'll talk about that scene where I guess it's a really famous scene in people that are fans of J horror. I'm not really sure. I'll admit I'm not an expert on this, though I do like some of the stuff. And it's the scene where the guy is there. The one character is going into this abandoned building because most of this movie is, abandoned buildings, abandoned gas stations, clearly low budget stuff. We're just going to rent for the day. And there's a ghost in there. And there's this cool scene where the ghost is kind of standing still and slowly walks in slow motion towards them, and then almost looks like it's going to run into a sprint. But it actually apparently was the actress tripping, and they decided to use that because it creates this really unsettling thing because she just sort of readjusts herself, and it was kind of this weird subversion, and she still kind of creeps him out. There's a couple other little things about it that I really like from a practical perspective, but I'll kind of get your thoughts before I go more into it because I want to hear what you think. But uh, long story short, I liked the movie. I don't know if I loved it as much as I was hoping to. It feels like a movie that I'm like, yeah, I want to love it more because of its reputation or something. I liked certain things about it a lot. I appreciated the low budget and how effective and creepy it could be while being understated. And there's one effect I really like. I'd like to share with you, but it was good. I think it had a lot to say about the influence of the internet and people becoming more isolated. And I know there's a lot of probably inherently Japanese cultural mythology as well that's in there too. So it feels very distinctly Asian and Japanese, and I think the Japanese do horror well. So before I give you more thoughts, I want to hear your thoughts, Brad.
Okay, yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, I remember that you shared that scene with me a few months ago. So I knew that was the movie when you said pulse, and I looked at it, I'm like, oh, that's the scene you shared with me. And I saw it coming up. I probably ruined it. Well, I was watching it with my wife, and I paused it and I said, "This is a famous scene."
No.
She's like, "Well, I don't want to watch it because it's probably." I'm like, "No, just look at the anyway." Because it's cool. It is a cool, the way the actress trips and this is a ghost, but trips on her heels or whatever. It's high heels.
Mhm,
It's kind of cool. One thing well, how to go about this? It did remind me. I'll go back to what you said. Elements of it obviously reminded me of The Ring, and that kind of thing. You had some definitely like a little bit of the flickering ghost, the screen thing,
mhm,
um, uh, and I d- one of those. I didn't love the movie. I'll just say that I didn't love the
mhm,
movie. I liked it. I think it's
mhm,
like you said. I thought there was some things missing or some things in there that could have been taken out a little too long. What
mhm,
I did like though, what I did like, what I really there was some scenes in there I really liked. Some of the cinematography and some of the effects and scenes with the ghosts was cool,
mhm.
very creepy, and cool. Like the one we just mentioned, and then you have later. There's a scene in the arcade with the background with the arcade music and noise, and the ghost is like wavy.
Like a
Um,
blob. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
some of the scenes like there was two times they were in like a public bus. I kind of like the straight on of the bus, and that was kind of cool. And another one, I like the last ghost, the male ghost at the end that got the main
Oh,
character.
that was a good effect with like the glowing
The
face. He's just kind of
glowing
like
guy,
coming out of the
yeah. And
shadow.
as he came in, like the eyes, um, I don't know if you remember that he came in and he's
That
like, cause
I don't want to interrupt you, but I thought that was I actually thought that might have been the scariest scene because he's literally like, "Hey, it's not real.
yeah,
I'm alive. I'm not." And then you think he's gonna open his eyes, and it's just back. No, Ghost's
yeah,
still there, and he's getting
no,
closer. Like you can't ignore me, buddy.
yeah. That was cool because the way that the with the camera his body was blocking the ghost. So he kind of turns around, you're like, oh, it's not real. And then no, and the ghost literally says, I'm real. And then comes in and then his eyes are like kind of
Hmm.
jump out. That was creepy.
Hmm.
So I did like some of those scenes. There were some parts in there where I don't know. I started to lose interest. It felt like it was dragging a little bit, like
Yeah.
losing, like it grabs you and then losing a little bit of that. And then I was
Hmm.
also wondering, like you said, is there some like Japanese mythological things in there, folklore things, like with the red tape, like how red tape keeps them in the room, or
Well, I'm like I said, I'm not an expert. Have you ever seen The Grudge?
yes,
Because I always liked the idea in The Grudge where it's like there was that area that it was a little different, but it's not exactly ghosts, but it's more like all the negative energy of the evil things that have happened have manifested, and the area has almost become like its own being as an
hmm
extension of evil. And I feel
yeah,
like it's almost I don't know if it's exactly like that, but I think the Japanese ghost thing is weird, like the fact that the idea that like there's no room in the afterlife kind of in terms of space, and the ghosts are literally like, no, we're coming out because we're all like crowded in here, and we're going to not kill people, but we're going to kind of do something worse to them and
yeah,
put them into state, which that was probably the thing about the movie I liked the most was kind of that idea, and I loved that effect because some of I think you might agree with me on this. I think yeah, like you said with the effects, some of the best things about the movie, I think, were the really effective low budget techniques they used, like the when they would have somebody losing it, about to lose themselves, and hey, it's okay, buddy. And then they have the hard cut, and then it's just like that black stain on the wall.
oh yeah,
Like that's very simple, but very creepy and effective.
yeah,
Uh yeah, and I really thought that was very haunting and disturbing. Like you walk around the room, and I like how some of the characters, like the one character, she's like the way she reacts, I don't know if it's just because it was like they might have just been filming her doing something random and put it in the movie because it's almost like she doesn't react to it. It's like I'm just gonna walk away and pretend I didn't see this person like disappear and become a shadow stain on
Oh
the
yeah,
wall where
yeah,
they, you know what I mean? She just kind of
yeah.
walks away and like goes and tries to talk to somebody. I'm like, wait, are we not going to acknowledge what just happened because it's like it's so shocking, you know?
Hmm.
But yeah, I agree with you though about the length of it. It's a little slow, which I kind of did like, but it was a bit too much of that. And I don't know, maybe it would help if the characters were a little more fleshed out or something. There
Yeah.
there wasn't
No.
too much going on. It's just people wandering around. Um, I did have a question to ask you about the length of it too. I thought the movie was pretty good in terms of like the low budget feel because it has almost like that documentary element to it. It feels kind of real in that sense. But do you think this movie may have bitten off a little more than it could chew?
Yeah. You mean with the scope of the yeah.
Yeah, by the end of it, I'm like,
Oh
it
yeah.
feels like, wait, we
That's
got the
exactly.
CGI, the plane explode, and
Yeah, it turned into like an apocalyptic thing. And I think that kind of went to it's uh yeah, I think it would have been better served. I think the story would have been better served to confine it to like that building or that group of friends.
mhm, and
Um
yeah,
yeah,
I
it
I
kind of like went off. I'm like, oh, well, holy smokes! Like the whole all of Tokyo is like looks like Godzilla's like, and then there's a plane, and then they found a
uh-huh,
cool like Ferrari speedboat, and then there's like
yeah,
all those bodies in it. I mean, uh, yeah, I think, yeah, I think it was a little like you said, it bit off more than it could chew, maybe something. Because it was, I'm not even totally sure. Like the one guy, Kawashimi, whatever the one character,
let
um,
me see if I can look him up. We'll get a bunch
ki-
of names.
kid that
Uh,
smoked, long hair guy.
Kawashima.
Kawashima, yeah, Kawashima.
Mm,
He said he was a student, so I guess they all lived in this building. And then I was a little bit, yeah, I was kind of getting a little confused with like relationships and what like who they were as people, which I guess I don't need to know totally, but a little more, it might have helped a little more. Like if Kawashima, then there was the girl, Harue, whatever.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's Hare, but I thought it
Harue.
looked like Haru. But
Haru,
yeah,
yeah, it looks
Hare.
like Haru. And then yeah, because it's like the guy at the beginning that for the first guy that hangs himself, I think that's Taguchi. Like does he have that disc? Like I need that disc, and then they go and like I'm like, Did the disc do something? It did get creepy by the way before like it did get a little creepy. He's like, do you want to talk to a ghost? He's trying to sign on the internet. Like you get that
Hmm.
crappy like AOL keeps
Oh,
sending you that disc in the mail.
oh, oh, wait,
Start the
no,
internet
Brad,
up.
I have to make another point. You're right. It gets creepy. Okay, the the movie. I'm so sorry. The movie could never. It does a lot of creepy things right, but it really messed up. There was a point where I burst out laughing, and it like sabotaged itself. Can you guess what point that was? You kind of mentioned it already with the
Um,
one ghost. Do you remember what happened?
no,
Do you
what are you
remember?
talking about? What?
Okay, well, I think our younger viewers wouldn't even appreciate this. It might come off as creepy, but like when that part we were talking about where he's trying to hide and the ghost is going in, right, kind of right before the ghost comes in with the million mile stare and zooms in and goes after him. What's emanating from is the sound of like a dial up.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, oh, that may have been
Yeah.
scary in 2001, but I mean,
Uh,
it was a nightmare to try to get
yeah.
on
I'm on the
online, but
phone. Someone's on the phone, and you're trying to sign.
that was the real nightmare they're trying to encapsulate. We cannot get online. Everyone
Yeah,
has to get online, but we can't do it.
yeah. They don't understand that noise. Dial-up.
I thought that was hilarious, intentional or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh,
Yeah, I was like, "What are you talking?" Anyway, yeah, it's a little bit because there's like a computer lab. Is that part of the school or the building's computer lab? Because then it was
uh,
like a class. She's like, hit the
yeah,
print screen. I'm like, I forgot. Oh, yeah, you can print screen. I did that. And then I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the point is like it was a little bit of like maybe if I had known a little more about the characters or the connectivity there or something, cared about them a little more. Um and it was creepy with the ghost because it, like you said, it's like the realm of the dead or whatever is too full, which I kind of like the idea, like because they were talking about energy and the souls are energy, so they have to occupy some kind of idea of space and time, something like so they come
Hmm.
back and they don't kill you, but they like coming in contact with them is like coming in contact with death, and so you want to then kill yourself, like
Hmm.
you're become so the realm of the dead has entered the realm of the living and it's pulling it into it kind of thing. um so yeah, but then it's like I don't know, it was like jumping around a little bit. Because toward the middle there, I think I kind of lost the plot of like um who I'm like why the guy because the guy's in the forbidden room, he has the bag on the head, and then later the
Uh-huh.
girl had the bag on the head, he shoots himself, she shoots him, like um
Uh-huh.
and
Which was creepy.
it printed off forbidden room, so I guess maybe I'm not supposed to understand all, it was just kind of creepy. It was um
Well, I feel like the forbidden room might have been like the chat room or like the room you could boot up to get into that internet space, like a closed off like server, like an
mhm,
evil server or something. I don't know. I thought it does seem like something like, oh man, I actually there is something kind of effective though that's creepy about those early webcams, with everything really choppy. I think that that kind of works to its benefit. But yeah, I think that your one issue I can honestly say with you is right up is about it is that I did struggle to get through it a little bit. And it was like I said, it's one of those movies that I was impressed by the guy's video and that scene. And so I was expecting a little more, but I did break this up into two sittings. Like I started it like months ago, and I was like, oh, like it's kind of creepy, but I'm like, it's not super holding me. I need a bad dub. It's subtitled,
mhm.
Got to actually take it seriously. I would have liked to have watched the remake, the American remake, and see how bad that was, but I decided not to. Um, yeah, the maybe do you think that we could have just like we could have just lost the one plot? We could have just like maybe made more traditional story where all the characters know each other, and because you're right, it's almost like two separate movies anyway, and maybe that was part of the problem
Yeah,
keeping
yeah, it
focus.
is. There's you have like the personal ghost story with the group of friends. And then you have like the big apocalyptic event with all the ghosts coming out. I think it would have been more effective because you started out with Taguchi at the beginning and he hangs himself and she
Hmm.
witnesses that. And there's like the black spot on there. And some of the creepiest parts then are, again, like with the webcam thing, when that one girl is looking at it and then it's behind her own room,
Hmm.
and she's like that's creepy kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
Like I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, there's no way I'm walking through that door. Shut the
yeah.
door.
Well,
Turn the
it, in
yeah.
in classic horror movie fashion, people make dumb stuff and yeah, dumb decisions. And I will say I did unless I'm thinking of another movie. There is a one point I believe where the perspective shifts and it looks like it is looking out from a webcam kind of. So like the ghost is in the digital space, which is a cool idea, like when she's walking into the back room, which
Mhm.
I did hate that. And also, by the way, and I think that guy you like, what's his name? Kawashima, like nice guy and all, but why did he leave her alone?
No, I
Like
don't. Yeah.
what in the room? I remember like being annoyed. I was like, really? Why are you leaving her? Like,
Uh,
she's clearly not in her right mind. What's going on? Why are you going anywhere alone? So
no,
I
why do you?
remember
Yeah,
that.
why do you keep going alone? He left her on the subway, the train alone. He left the girl on the Hare
Secretly, he's
alone,
just like, I'm
and
done.
then he finds another girl. They run out of gas. I'm like, no, go together or walk. You find another car.
Mhm.
Buddy system. You can't. We're not separating it. You said bad stuff. Then the gas can lid rolls into a red taped off room. You don't need that lid. Let it spill a little bit.
Let it go. It's worth it. um, Yeah, I liked the I kind of did like the apocalyptic stuff, but I feel like they did a good job of creating that sense of it was happening oddly without seeing it. I mean, it was really the sharp turn when towards the end they have like all of Tokyo or wherever they are, and you're right, it's the massive shots, and like
Mhm.
there's definitely some green screen unless they somehow got the money to block off all these streets with a bunch of the bodies laying down, which was cool, and then the big CGI plane, like you said, the explosions. But I was kind of like I felt like that was a little too much. Like they almost could have implied it because one of the weird strengths of the movie, and it's kind of I I want to see what your thoughts are on this. A lot of times I feel like the great strength of any film or any story it's kind of really directly connected to its greatest weakness. And we said it was slow. We said it was boring at points. It had some creepy points, but I kind of thought it was very interesting and dreamlike, surreal, and creepy how and maybe it speaks to the themes of the movie that you have these people that are talking about being alone and they're being isolated and there doesn't seem to be a lot of people around. It's very quiet and there's all these creepy abandoned buildings. But yet we are like in the suburbs around a major metropolitan city. I think it's Tokyo. And every
Mhm.
shot, even outside, it's like there's nobody around. And I do think it's pretty impressive that they do manage to do that. I guess that's to create that sense of people are slowly being, taken away and, maybe people are becoming more isolated because they're losing their connection with people. And, in Japan, I know and I guess in America, in some ways, that constant need to be productive and to make money, and that sense of value always being kind of at odds with itself, and the pressure. I know that Japan, like suicide rates, pretty bad, and
Yeah.
criminal elements at the time. So, and of course, with the internet, and we know about how that can be a means to draw yourself into it. It can be a distraction, addictive. It can make it feel more. Of a draw in comparison to dealing with other people. And I do like the idea that theme I think is strong in the movie about human connection and wanting to live a good life and not give up on yourself. And but also with that big sense of loneliness. We're in a big crowded area, many people in the world, but we feel so alone. I feel like that is
Yeah.
a poignant theme that still is relevant. And I think that was reflected well, even in the low budget kind of weird way they were able to make things so quiet. But then again, at the same time, it's a post-apocalyptic sort of thing, and or near apocalyptic, and I feel like there should be more people. So it's weird that those things they don't quite work, but they sort of work. So I don't know. I wanted to say that.
No, I think you're right. I think if they would have maybe not been so explicit with the apocalyptic element of it toward the end and just
Mhm,
leave it there, like, yeah, this is Tokyo. I think because she says at one point, like, your dad's in Tokyo. I think it was definitely Tokyo. And
mhm.
and then she's what, they do become the group becomes isolated, progressively isolated, and then you got those outside shots where there's nobody around. Um, and so, yeah, I think that would have worked better. You combine the ghost story with the element of like as they get deeper into this, like he signs onto the internet, he's getting into that, and then it's there's the separation there, and maybe even left it a little more, I don't know, mysterious,
Ambiguous. Mhm.
ambiguous, maybe like as to what is like trying to figure out what's going on here with the ghosts, like how I don't know. Um,
Do you think? Well, I got two ideas. Maybe one thing they could have done at the beginning to really increase that sense of loneliness is maybe they could have had more people. Like, remember where they were in the classroom, they were at the library. Maybe they should have just, if they could have just found like a couple scenes early on where there's a bunch of people and it seems more normal, people walking in the
yeah,
streets, and then progressively had less people and have more isolation, that might have worked. Do you think it's possible though? Maybe like in script of the movie or whatever implied that the reason why there's nobody outside and nobody around is everybody logging on, getting online, not leaving their apartments, maybe?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be, yeah, I think yeah, that element's there. Like he's like because the Kawashimi or whatever, I think it's Kawashimi. Like he's like one of the last ones to like get online.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of understated there, but that could be the effect of it.
But at the same time, there's another problem, Brad, because Remember that scene, which is kind of creepy, where you've got the newscaster listing off this
Hmm.
person's missing, age 37, age 5, age, and I think these young kids are getting, destroying themselves too. It's a really creepy kind of scene, almost like there's a big, pandemic or a war or something. It reads like that kind of bleak newscast. But Brad, is it really that big of a crisis if we have a major news network, and it's only like a couple, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, it's once again, it didn't feel like it quite fit, it wasn't big enough, like there's still a functioning
Yeah.
broadcasting, I don't know, it's like the whole movie kind of goes against itself because of its own limitations somehow. I don't know, just kind of bugged me.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, that scene, you remember the scene in the library?
Hmm.
He sees the ghost in the library and the kid's like, you can go try to catch her, and he tries to go up. Like, I think maybe when he went around the corner, they could have somehow put in like Slimer there or something with in the
Get the
library.
Ghostbusters
So,
in. Hey,
yeah.
you know what though? Wouldn't that be great crossover to get the international call? Like, Bankman, like there's a
Yeah.
problem in Tokyo. All right, let's get it. They got the Ghostbusters plane. Yeah. Sounds like something they probably did in the cartoon or something. Extreme
Yeah.
Ghostbusters. That would be pretty cool.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
That would be good. Yeah. Um, well, I mean, Ghostbusters would save the day. They definitely could have helped out in this one. Yeah, I don't know. I will admit this was a rare one where I didn't like know much about the movie, and I just was like, "Hey, let's give it a shot." So tried something totally new. Um, I agree. I liked it, or I liked parts of it, but I definitely didn't love it. I wish this could be a movie that I could love, and it's not quite there. Do you think it's influential in some way, or is it like we already have stuff like The Ring? Like, is
Yeah.
is it quite at that level? I don't know.
I don't think so. It has the elements there. I mean, yeah, I think because like with the ring, like I know what it's trying to do.
Hmm.
And it's got the story and it's creepy. I mean, I remember I went to the theater and saw the ring and it was like of course that jump scares or whatever. You don't have to have that, but
Hmm.
it's not trying to be that. But um it also, if you're gonna have a monster movie or a ghost story or something,
Hmm.
I think there has to be a little more. I mean, granted, the people commit suicide and you don't always see it or whatever, but it's almost like it's not that big a deal to see one or something. It's like not that bad, maybe. Do you know what I mean? Um,
You mean like
yeah, I'm just how can I describe it? Like it was creepy, but it was almost like
it wasn't bad enough almost? Like the
I,
well, I know that the girl in the ring is a disturbing creature, like this huge presence um that is kind of like throughout the whole movie even when she's not there. And I think The Grudge is kind of like that, but
mm,
with this one it wasn't, the ghosts weren't quite that oppressive of
you
a
know
force.
what? I don't. Okay, I'm just kind of rewriting the whole story here. This is not, but
Oh no, it's gonna fix it's
almost
gonna
been
fix both.
it would have almost been you know the kind of story where like you have the ghosts who are coming from the realm of the dead and they are what they are. That's not their fault. They're dead. And so like you don't want to necessarily come into contact with one, but they keep saying like help is written on the wall, help me.
Yeah.
They're benign or whatever. If maybe at the heart of this problem there was like a malevolent thing that was doing this. And
Mm.
then that's the real scary thing you come in contact. Some malevolent spirit, malevolent ghost, malevolent entity, or something
Well,
that's
you're saying the ghosts are like they're just kind of doing it because they have no choice. They're like trying to save themselves in a way.
they're just there. And so it's like, well, the ghosts are the problem, but then maybe like behind the veil of the ghost, there's something else there. That's the real scary thing, or
I gotcha.
that's the thing in
Like
the forbidden room. That's the thing that's causing the yeah,
in Insidious or something. You've got
something
like
like
the,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Do you know
There's
what I
like a
mean?
there's evil force. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like there's no unifying evil force that we can clearly like say, oh, it's just it's just like a pragmatic problem that seems really creepy to humans on the mortal plane,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, that is potentially a problem. It's almost like it's not quite scary or aggressive enough in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying. That's a good point. That is a good point.
Because then you
Um,
have something that's there behind the scene that comes out sometimes, like that's the bad thing. Like, uh-oh,
mhm,
don't go in that
mhm,
forbidden room, the forbidden room. This is the room.
mhm.
And you see a
But then, but then,
ghost.
but then we got to go into the forbidden room to like insert the virus so we can break the
Yeah.
digital connection and cut the cord and that's true. You got to face the thing in the forbidden room and it's like
Yeah.
the ultimate troll, internet troll. Like he's trolling,
Yeah, he's like
trolling
hacking
existence.
he like hacks he's trolling the
He's hacking the earth. Like I'm hacking the living man.
Oh my gosh. Two monitors.
Like
It
in oh
just
man, that's right,
yeah,
Master Hacker. Uh,
like a
hey,
gamer
actually,
chair.
I like that though. It sounds it does. He's like, and they got to go in and fight the boss. Yeah, no, it sounds cheesy, but in a way, I see what you're saying. Like they could have, they needed to have a more central conflict, and I don't know, maybe they were trying to be bleak and just be
It
like,
was. So I think that's the point. A little bleak, but maybe with that, what I'm saying is you then you would get a little more of the archetypal like good versus evil thing
human element.
somehow in there
Hmm.
instead of just like,
Gotcha.
this sucks and it's
It's
getting
almost
suckier. Like, oh man, this really sucks, but
yeah, it's like a big natural thing. There's like it's natural disaster almost. Like you can't
it's
do anything
also
about it, but
it
there's
was
no
very bleak. Like I know it's Japan, but I don't know. Like the architecture was like almost Soviet. Some of it blocky, like concrete. Like it was.
Mhm.
I don't know. Some of the scenes, I'm like,
Well,
man, it's. They had that crappy like apart. I don't know where they lived. That building, and then there's like that abandoned like uh
oh,
where
the water tower
the
thing.
abandoned thing over there. Yeah, it's awful. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I thought that worked for the atmosphere of the
It
movie.
does. It does.
But
It's very bleak. You know.
yeah, yeah, the bleakness works. I see what you're saying, and it's like, how do you having an evil, malevolent force to like fight a bad guy essentially? I think could have helped with the human elements, but it's almost like they want to make it this bleak. It's Japan, and I'm sure a lot of countries do this. Russia does this, where it's almost like there's a cultural force we feel we're frustrated about that we can't change. Westernization or whatever it is, and that it's a metaphor, Brad. It's all a metaphor, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess. Well, that's another question. Is that do you like was this just a do you think this was just like a of the moment, like, trendy, like, this is the new thing to be afraid of, the internet, dial up chat rooms, websites, or do you think it was like trying to comment on the fear, like we said, of reliance on technology and human interaction? And do you think that's there, or was it expressed well enough? Because I'm not sure. They did the whole ghost thing and like, oh, we're losing ourselves to our loneliness,
Yeah,
but
I think because it was some of the dialogue at some of the points where they're like, well, we're not doing well on our own. Let's live together. Let's stay together.
mhm,
On the scene, they're like, well, there's nobody around. That's okay because we're definitely here.
yeah, we
You
have
know,
each other.
until
Yeah.
you left her, and then you didn't.
I left her twice. Like, oh yeah, we have is each other. We'll always have each other,
I'll be right
and at
back.
least. But let me be right back. Let me leave you with the evil ghost and
Yeah.
just like come back, get some chips. Like, see, that's
Shit.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Is you're right. There's some poignant messages, but then the movie sabotages it with some dumb crap. Like, yeah, it's just like let me just sabotage what I just said. It's kind of, and there's unintentionally funny things like that. Honestly, this movie might have been like, I know it's a cult classic apparently, but I think it could have been more of a cult classic if they just did more of that and just like I don't know, cut it to by like what, 20 minutes? Just more of the ghost scenes running around. Then the plane comes in and all of Tokyo's bombed. We got to get on the boat with, I have to confess too, I don't know if you were you confused at the end when they got on the boat and then they cut to like the old guy. And I'm thinking, wait, how long they been on this boat? Like, has this been like 30 20 years, 30 years, like, but no, oh, that's just the captain. I was just
Yeah.
like, wait, I thought that was like them aged up for a second. I was like, whoa, they're on a boat. Yeah.
No, yeah, I guess it was like there's not many survivors left. They're headed to like Latin America or whatever. And then the
Well,
guy was
and
a stain at the end.
which I know that's also bleak, but yeah, why did he? I don't know. I didn't really. I mean, she did once again. She didn't seem bothered by that. Like he gave up.
Yeah, yeah, you do what you can do.
Also,
Yeah.
also, what I thought there had to be some kind of like internet connection. You got to be like
Oh
staring at your
yeah.
computer screen. There was nothing. He just was in the bunker on a ship. I thought he'd be safe from like the whatever the plot element was. You notice that? I thought that was like a plot hole. You know?
Yeah, I think the idea there was because he had seen the ghost. Like if you
Oh
touch
yeah.
or see a ghost, then he tried to hold out. He tried to hold on. Like he did try to hold on. But then I
Mhm.
guess the point is he killed himself there, or he just became a ghost. Like I don't.
He gave up. He became the
He
human
couldn't fight
state.
it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess that makes sense. The ghost did touch him. All right, that's fine. But well, what about apparently there are sequels to this, you know.
Oh, really?
And I'm kind of thinking, where do you go from here? If everybody's become like a not ghost and the ghosts are, how do you have sequels to this movie? Do they just fight the Ghostbusters come in and wage a war against all the ghost things and you get your malevolent force, you know?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
don't know where you go. I don't know. I don't know why you'd have a sequel. I don't know what you do with it. Um,
Yeah. But apparently
you
it
just
did.
act like it didn't happen and start over. Pulse 2
Reboot.
or whatever, like Troll 2 is Pulse 2. Not even
It's just
related to it. I don't know. I
that's we
don't
got to watch Troll 2 sometime. That's
know.
a good one. That's a
Yeah,
masterpiece
I
right
do
there.
think, yeah, but
Um,
I do think there was
oh
some
man. Yeah.
um act two problems. I don't know, just problem like like what's our message or like where are you going here a little bit.
Mhm.
Um uh so yeah, I did some of the scenes were great. Some of the effects, it was creepy. And it just didn't make it over the top or maybe they could cut some of that out or tighten it up or something. I'm not sure. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's like two plots going on or like two things happening simultaneously. It doesn't maybe doesn't work out like it should.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it was okay overall. Would you recommend it to people or do you think it's like,
It
nah?
depends on the person. Like if I yeah, yeah. Not to everybody. Probably not to most people.
Mhm.
Because of the length and well, right off the bat, it's Japanese and you got the subtitles are in white. It's a little tough to read some things. I know some people
Mhm.
that'll just bail on that, but certain people, I'll be like, it's interesting enough. I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't tell them anything about it. Just like this is like a ghost story. This is like a just watch it. I mean, there are some, it obviously has enough redeemable qualities that it's people talk about it and it's I guess
Well,
it's a cult, cult thing, cult classic type thing from Japan. So
yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I will say one last point. I do think that if this movie doesn't have one, it could definitely benefit from a very cheesy, very bad English dub. I mean, every Japanese movie needs like that might be, oh man,
yeah.
it's a ghost. Oh, don't touch me. Like it needs a bad, cheesy English dub. Then it would be over the top. So that's it. That's what it needs. I think would elevate it for people. So
Yeah.
somebody do a fan dub of Pulse, please, if it doesn't have one.
Yeah, that would be good.
um,
Ooh, they like dubbed the ghost like
that
ooh.
ooh, they're all like, "Ooh, you scared?" I'm a ghost. Hey man, what's your problem? Um, yeah. So yeah, that was Pulse, everybody. If you're really interested in Japanese ghost movies, maybe check it out. We thought it was all right. Um, so the next one's gonna be for you, Brad. But I think we should wrap this one up, and I'll say good night, everybody. Say goodbye, Brad.
Goodbye, Joe. Goodbye, everyone. And